not super fun news. So I have not been able to confirm what exactly happened, how bad it is. It might not be bad, according to J-Hop. Dakorien Moore suffered an injury, and Oregon does not need him this weekend. They do need him against Penn State. The Penn State defense with Jim Knowles, you need every single weapon that you can possibly have. He might be able to give it a go. He might be able to not. I don't know. Dan Lanning and the program and injuries. Do we ever get consistent information? Not really. That's just the way that it is. I don't know when or if we'll hear about it. He talked about Noah Whittington. He said, if he's ready to go, we'll see him this weekend. Yeah, just non-answers all over the place. That has been standard operating procedure. But if Dakorien Moore he could play this week, I don't want to see him play. I don't want to be nervous watching him go. I don't want to watch him potentially get dinged up and then be less than 100% or not be able to play at Penn State. In no way, shape, or form for this Oregon State team, who I'm going to talk about more on Thursday, tomorrow. I've got a crossover loading with Zach Sako of Locked On Nittany Lions, talk about the Penn State game right now, which we recorded before the Dakorien news came out, just so you all know. But this is an Oregon State team that is down bad. I mean, really bad right now. Last week to Texas Tech, I believe they lost 45-14. Oregon is a better team than Texas Tech. Oregon State's on the road. It's not as big of a road trip, but you should not need Dakorien Moore for this game. Oregon's got plenty of wide receivers who I like, who I trust, and frankly, they shouldn't have to be used that often in this game because Oregon should be able to just enforce their will, and you shouldn't need to, rely on a big-time play from a wide receiver in a crucial spot to keep the drive alive, to, hold on to the lead or something. No, it should be another cruise control game for Oregon against the Beavs. So, look, if the staff plays him this week, that means it is really, really nothing serious, because I just cannot imagine. Every coach is going to tell you we take it one game at a time. Quotes have already come out about the rivalry game this week and how much it means to the university and a lot of fans and whatnot, and that's all good and fine. Dan Lanning knows in his heart of hearts we don't need Dakorien Moore this week. So if he plays, then maybe it is actually a good sign. Because maybe that's a sign that, this is really nothing, and he's totally fine. So this is just something to keep an eye on. That's all the information that I've got right now. I'm sure more will come out as the week progresses, and Lanning will get asked about it at a press conference, and we'll evaluate what he says at the time. But, if Dakorien is not 100%, rest him this week. That's fine. We need him 100% for Penn State. Way more than Oregon State. That's not even remotely the same. So, speaking of individual players, it's time for individual standouts from the Northwestern game. This is only something I can do following an Oregon game, meaning last year, this segment happened 14 times. Think about how many podcast episodes I'm putting out in a year, 3 segments on every episode. This segment can only happen 14 times last year, will happen at least 12 times, at least 13 times this year, hopefully more. But man, I've got to start with Aaron Flowers. Dude is a good football player. He is fast, decisive, plays downhill from that safety spot. I've liked what I've seen from Oregon safety so far. Aaron Flowers was Oregon's leading tackler on Saturday, and he didn't have, an interception like Jerry Mixon or a sack like Mateo and I think Bear Alexander combined with him on it, or Tatum Tuioti. I think it was Tatum and Bear had half a sack. Mateo had the full sack. But he didn't do anything like that. But I just kept watching and went, made another tackle. There he is again. But there he is. Dude's flying. Redshirt freshman, had serious accolades coming out of high school, did not play in a significant way a year ago, and he looks like a player. Looks like an absolute player. In coverage, don't know if he's been fully challenged yet, but this is a guy that can play downhill, can make some tackles, did some awesome stuff. Another guy that's flying under the radar here. Again, I go beyond the obvious. Malik Benson led the team in receiving yards, and Dante Moore was great, and Jerry and Bryce had interceptions. I want to talk about Poncho. I went back and watched some game film. I thought Poncho had an awesome game. I don't know exactly what his PFF grade was in that specific game, but I'm just telling you, I watched him a lot. The whole offensive line again against a Northwestern defense that I actually think is pretty good. And, throughout the year, I know that they lost to Tulane. Tulane looks really good. I mean, really, really good. So I don't know that there's a ton of shame in that. Like, they got blown out. Northwestern's not great because their offense isn't very good. But defensively, David Braun's a defensive guy. I thought their defense was impressive in a number of ways. They look pretty fast. They look pretty physical. They look pretty big. Poncho's pass grade so far this year is 87.7. His run grade is only 63.5. But, 87.7. That is an awesome pass blocking grade. I thought Poncho had an awesome game. He made a bunch of great blocks in the run game down the field. Didn't allow a pressure that I saw, and I just continue to be impressed. He's one of the best centers in college football. I don't know if we get him back next year, which is the bummer. Speaking of Jerry Mixon, by the way, he is the highest graded linebacker in all of college football, according to PFF. So that's pretty cool. Jay Harris deserves a shout out here. This Oregon running back room, going to talk about him more later on the show, just continues to showcase the depth and number of different types of bodies. That's kind of the fun part about it. Is, Jordan Davison had the touchdown, also had an awesome block. He's just so big and physical. He doesn't look like a true freshman, doesn't play like one, but he is, and it's pretty awesome. Jay Harris had a couple of really nice runs and moments in this game, and I think he'll keep getting touches. I don't know if it'll ever escalate to the point where he's a 15 to 20 per game carry guy because there are just so many other names in the room, but he looks like Najee Harris light out there. He's got enough shiftiness, he's got enough power, he's a big body size, he can be tough to bring down, good in short yardage. Like I thought Jay Harris on the touches that he did have did a lot of really nice things for the offense on a day where running the ball was not a particularly easy thing to do for Oregon offensively. And again, I think that needs to improve on the one hand. From that particular game, especially against Oregon State. On the other hand, I was pretty impressed with Northwestern's defense. I think they're pretty well coached. I think they have some talent, particularly up front, but Oregon, of course, just a far more talented team. One thing I wanted to note while going through individual standouts here, you know what? I'm going to save that for the next segment. We'll keep it positive. Benny sent this one in. Spencer scale of agreement. Through the first two games, Jaden Kennedy, the Ole Miss transfer, has looked far more impressive than I expected. I was anticipating something like Casey Kelly, but he's made some plays. That's a nice sicko personnel pull right there. I think for me, he's been one of the biggest surprises of the season thus far. So Casey Kelly transferred to Oregon prior to the 2023 season at tight end. He was a number 3 tight end, and that's all he was. He caught a touchdown against Colorado. I think that was the only touchdown he caught with the Ducks. He was, he was fine. He didn't do anything special, but he was just kind of he was just a dude out there. And I think because he came from Ole Miss, it's easy to make that connection point in your head. But frankly, I did not have huge expectations for Jaden Kennedy. But right now, he's trending towards being a really good transfer developmental piece for Oregon and this staff, a la Nico Reed from Colorado, where, his prior stop, he's a starter, but he was okay. I'm with you on this one. This is a 9 on Spencer's scale of agreement because I too I didn't actually want to see him a ton on the field coming into the year because it would have meant that the young guys aren't ready, but we've seen plenty of Dalen Austin at that star position, which is where Kennedy's mostly playing. We've seen Sione Laulea as well. They're rotating those guys around. I think they're all playing really, really well. And like the star position is those 3 guys, and the more you watch them, I think the more impressive that they've really been. PFF agrees, by the way. Kennedy has only once had a grade over 70 in his career. That was back in 2022. And, a PFF grade, I don't think it's everything. I do think it is something. 70 is kind of the baseline for a good player. Like 70, okay, you're solid. 80, you're well above average. 90, you are literally one of the best in the country at your position. He's only been over 70 once. He's hovered in the high 60s the other years. He's currently sitting at a PFF grade of 79.9. including 81.2 in coverage. And I think part of this grade actually is brought down by his pass rush being 56.1, which is not a huge part of what you do as a defensive back. Oregon does blitz their DBs a solid amount. So I guess he's not elite at that, but man, I'm with you. Like, he's made plays. He hasn't gotten beat. He had some penalty issues at Ole Miss. Haven't seen those pop up at all. Yeah, this is actually, you know what? He's been one of the biggest surprises of the season thus far. That's a 10. That's the second 10 I've handed out this week. I have been noticing this time and again. He was going to be, before Benny sent me this SSA, he was going to be in my individual standouts this week because he looks good. He looks fast, decisive. Technique is good. He's not getting penalized. He's dude. He looks like a dude out there. So I love that one.